So hi, my name is Nancy Nan, and my project this summer was the Illinois RiverWatch Community College Program with my advisors Daniel Hack and Jen Young. So what is the RiverWatch program? So the Illinois RiverWatch program is a citizen science program that trains volunteers to monitor water quality in their local rivers and streams. Provides training for citizens, which could be anybody, students, college professors, anybody can have training to collect quality data on wadeable streams and foster coordination among groups involved in similar monitoring efforts. And lastly, it safeguards the future of Illinois rivers and streams through stewardship, education, and sound science. So my focus was to expand their citizen science program to connect with community college professors and students across Illinois. And this was through bringing RiverWatch training to community colleges across Illinois, providing opportunities to the students to participate in citizen science, and finally, expanding participation and data collection in the RiverWatch program. So you might be wondering, what is citizen science? So citizen science is often described as public participation in scientific research. It offers a sense of fulfillment to volunteers, empowers local communities to share their knowledge with scientists, and finally offers participants the opportunity to learn about topics they find interesting. So the first thing I did with RiverWatch was to create curriculums. I created two, one about macroinvertebrates and the other one about watershed and streams. So the first part was to interview college professors. So I interviewed two college professors on what they felt was missing from RiverWatch when they tried it in their classrooms. The next one was to make a rough outline of the two curriculums and have it approved by my supervisors. My third was to build the rough outline into a rough draft with a provided template. Then I asked three professors about what they would change about my two drafts. And then finally, I revised the curriculums to be more flexible and fleshed out based on the advice that I got from the professors. So this is from my watershed and streams lesson plan. And so the lesson plan would first start with student objectives, and we would base these off of AP high school standards. So we used high school standards so we can build upon the foundation we know that community college students have, and then just expand upon that. So these are the different ones that we want to touch on when we were doing the curriculum. So after the student objectives, we would have essential questions. And these are just questions that we want the curriculum to be centered around answering. Afterwards, it'd be objectives / student outcomes. And that's just the main topics that we hope the student would learn from our curriculum. And then finally, we have vocabulary, which is just important vocabulary the teacher should touch on when they are teaching this lesson. So after those, we had acquisition of skills. And for each day, I would put an approximate time just so that the teacher would know how long it would take. So whether they want to shorten it or make it longer, they could do that and just see how it would fit into their curriculum they already have. And then I would give them RiverWatch pages that they could use to reference and to build upon when they were looking at our lessons. And then again, we had vocabulary. And finally, some embedded links if they had some media that they want to show the class. And then finally, we would have some reading material. This from the EPA, so we would use credible sources. just in case they wanted some additional reading articles for the students. And so this would be the main part of the curriculum. It was to go to a local stream and collect samples using the RiverWatch materials and procedures. And then afterwards, we would ask the students to record data, analyze their data, and then if the teacher wanted, they can do a final assessment in form of a test, or if they just want to end with a lab, that was fine either way. So these are some pictures of what would it look like if they went to their local stream and did some sample collecting and data analysis. So the next thing I did for RiverWatch was equipment assessment. So I compiled data that was given to me from a survey I made. Because I am remote, I could not test the equipment myself. So somebody at the site did it for me. And then I compiled the data I received from my survey and made infographics so it would be easier for the teachers to figure out what option to use when they wanted a dissolved oxygen kit, for example. So over here, we have the different types of equipment. So these are the different options that the teacher can choose from. And then these are just the characteristics of the equipment that they can base their decision on. And I did that for conductivity kits, pH kits, and then also LabQuest. Then lastly, I had an extracurricular guide, and this is just a guide to help community college students establish a RiverWatch program in their school, just in case their teacher couldn't incorporate it into their curriculum. So this was just another way to further the outreach of RiverWatch. So these are just some questions that if a community college student wanted to implement a club, these are some of the questions that their school would probably ask them to fill out. And then here's a constitution, which is basically just the laws of a club. Again, I would put, I made just a sample constitution that the students can fill out when needed. So what are the next steps for the RiverWatch program? So to continue this momentum, we would have to communicate with additional professors to develop extracurriculums, provide training sessions to teach faculty to implement curriculums, including demonstrations of field and laboratory techniques, and possibly have a pilot class to determine if the curriculums are adequate. So here is my acknowledgements. I wish to acknowledge my two advisors, Daniel Hack and Jin Young from Intern, and then acknowledge John Griffiths, George Tissue, and Scott Moss for their time and comments when interviewing them. And now, any questions?
Any questions for Nancy? We don't have any from the online chat. I have a question. Were there community college professors that you reached out to that committed to using this curriculum or committed to helping to further develop it?
Yeah, so the college professors that we reached out to had already implemented RiverWatch in some way or another into their classes already. And that's why we interviewed them just to see what we could do to help them along that process. And then a lot of them told us that the curriculums they would implement into their future classes. So it was exciting to see our work being so well received. Yeah.
no other questions, thank you very much, Nancy.
No problem.
Turn it over to Brooke.